le preguntó cuál era su postura sobre los LGBTQI+, por, entre, porcentaje, y le dijo que este tema es muy preocupante, dado que ellos sufren mucho bullying. El activista conservador Vivek le dijo que creía que esto se trataba de un trastorno mental. Ella dijo una mala palabra, explotó y lo verás en este video. En él verás al mencionado activista contestando algunas preguntas hechas por el público. Fue entonces cuando la progre que ves en pantalla hizo la pregunta mencionada. Mira el video completo, que por cierto tiene un giro inesperado, y dime qué opinas de lo expuesto por Vivek. Pero antes, si te gusta este tipo de contenido, suscríbete al canal. Tenemos la meta a mediano plazo de llegar a los 100,000 suscriptores. Sin mayor dilación, empecemos.
Give me the hard questions.
LGBTQ.
What's up?
You heard me?
I actually didn't.
LGBTQ.
Yep, what about it?
Yeah, you just said there was nothing about.
Yeah, so how about this? I give you the mic, and we hear what you have to say. And then I'm going to answer you, and you'll hear what I have to say, what everybody else here has to say. Does that sound like a good deal?
I don't need the mic. Yes. I can speak louder.
Well, stand up. Tell me your name and state your question.
My name's Alexis Case, and I grew up here.
Okay.
In this town. LGBTQ is a serious situation in this world today. There are children that get bullied because they are I don't need that.
Okay. You're welcome to have it if you want.
I don't need it.
You get to ask your question, but after that, you're going to hear me give my answer. So I'll let you finish.
What is your stance on LGBTQ?
Good. Thank you for your question. I'm going to answer it. I'm going to go into a level of depth that I don't usually go into on a campaign trail, but I'm going to do it because you asked the question. You deserve an answer. LGBTQIA, there's so many letters, they've just added a plus at the end. That's where we are now. What's going on? So the same movement, because if we're going to call that one thing, let's play it fair. The same movement that said the person you're attracted to is hardwired on the day you're born. That was the premise of the rights movement, for it to count as a civil right. That movement is now saying that your own biological is totally fluid over the course of your life.
Hypocrite.
You can't believe both those things. Well, I think I'm going to get to a deeper state. That's where I was about a year or two ago, but I think there's something deeper going on, and I'll tell you what it is. So the same movement, and by the way, let's think about the women's rights movement in this country, which said there's many ways to be a woman. You can have long hair, short hair, you can wear a skirt, you can wear jeans. Now says that, oh, if actually you want to behave a certain way, that means you're a man. So I think that the hypocrisies go all the way down. And I'll tell you what's going on. You can't believe both of those things at the same time if you're operating according to principles of sheer logic. But you can if you're adopting a faith, a cult-like belief system. So this is controversial for me to say, but I'm going to tell you what I think. I believe that transgenderism specifically is a mental health. I believe it's a mental health condition.
Okay.
Nobody cares what they think.
Well, no. We're going to finish this. This is good. We have to have open conversation in this country. But I don't think the compassionate thing to do. Well,
It's how they feel.
well, let me. If I'm going to give you a chance to respond if you'd like, but we can't have an open debate in this country if we're not able to state our views.
That's how they feel.
That's how they feel. And you know what? I'll tell you a story, and you deserve to hear this. I met two young women in this race about 6 months ago. Their names were Chloe and Katie, two young women. They're in their 20s now. Both of them had their cut off. One of them had her uterus removed.
Okay.
They're in their 20s. They regret that decision. One of them wants to have kids. She'll never have kids. The other one will never breastfeed her children. They'll never be the same because they had that done to them when they were teenagers. So no, when a young person shows up and says, my doesn't match my biological sex. They're asking for help.
But you just said 20. That's not
They happened to them when one girl was 13 when it happened to her. She's in her 20s now and regrets it. This is what's wrong in this country. We will look back at this and say this was barbaric that we allowed this to happen in this country. That is not compassion. That is cruelty. And so I don't think the right thing to do is, I'm not going to villainize those people. You don't villainize people who are going through suffering, but you have to be willing to say when a kid shows up and says, my doesn't match my biological sex, you have to be able to say, what else is going wrong at home? What else might be going wrong at school? Get to the bottom of what's going on. Help that person with compassion, with dignity. So my view is this: if you're an adult, you're free to live your life however you want as long as you're not hurting somebody else. If you're a man, you can dress how you want. If you're a woman, you can dress how you want. Identify how you want. We're a free country and I'm not going to stop you. But kids are not the same as adults. And we have to protect our children. And I'm going to go further than that. We can't change the way that women and men compete in sports. We can't do that. We can allow you to live your life the way you want to. But we can't change the way that we operate in our own life. And I'm going to finish this thought and then you get to respond. Because I think this is good. We don't do this enough. Open debate. I love this. I think what we've had in our country before is a tyranny of the majority. And that's what we worry about. But right now we don't have a tyranny of the majority. What we have in this country right now is a tyranny of the minority. That's what we have right now, a tyranny of the fringe minority that tells you to shut up, sit down, and do as you're told. No, we have to stand for what is true. And so I promise you, you will have a chance to respond. I'm going to keep my promise. You tell me. This is good. We don't do this enough in our country anymore. Open conversation. Tell me.
I was a child when I knew that I was... Not the fact that I wanted to change my gender, but living here in this town, I knew that I wanted, that I was attracted to females.
And you know what's
But I had to hide it.
And when did you grow? When was that? In the 90s?
Oh, no. Let's see, I came out when I was 19, so I was born in 1983.
So I think where we are now, we're in the similar generation. I think things today aren't what they were. I grew up in Ohio in the 1990s, and we're in a different place today. And I think this could be a very productive conversation. I don't get to do this in the campaign trail often, where we all are in our own echo chambers and silos. So it's good for us to talk to each other. I like that. Something funny's happened, I think, in the last few years in this country with the civil rights movement. It's right when we get to closest to the promised land of true racial equality that we then start obsessing over systemic racism. It's right when we get to the point in our national history where whoever you are, you can marry who you want, where you want, if you want, whatever they are, that we start then obsessing over this identity revolution. You know what's actually funny right now is many people who are being taught to say that, hey, if you're a woman attracted to a woman, you're not a woman, you're a man. So that's the transgender movement. The L and the G, first of all, don't have that much to do with each other. The G and the T don't have as much to do with each other. But we're clubbing all of these things up to create more division. I hate the term persons of color. You want to know why? You take 100 different cultures, combine them into one thing that's designed to be opposed to this other thing we call white. And so the way I view this is, you are free to live your life the way you wish to, as long as you don't hurt anybody else in return. And I'm free to do the same thing too. But that doesn't mean we change the way men and women compete in sports. That doesn't mean we change the way men and women, I don't think that just because you identify as a man doesn't mean that you're entitled to a trophy. Do you agree with me on that?
That's different.
You agree with me on that?
I get you. I get you.
You agree with me on that? All right.
I get you. That's different.
Because men shouldn't be swimming with women in women's sports competitions. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's
different.
That's what I'm talking about, right?
That's
And so that's what I'm saying is it's not all the same thing, right? And so we got to respect people and treat them with dignity. Every one of us is different. But all I'll say is kids aren't the same as adults, and if we can agree on that,
then I think we at least made some progress tonight. We'll have a step forward. So thank you. I appreciate that.
A pesar de su comportamiento inicial, la tía, casi al culminar el segmento, al menos aparentemente en cierto punto de vista específico, estuvo de acuerdo con el activista. El referirse al LGBTQI+, como sea, como un movimiento es totalmente correcto. En un contexto social, un movimiento puede referirse a un grupo organizado de personas que comparten una causa, objetivo o ideología común y trabajan juntas para lograr un cambio social o político. En algunos aspectos equivocados, pero sí, después de todo, es un movimiento. ¿Qué opinas de la idea de que el sexo es fluido? Déjamelo saber en los comentarios. Igual te comento que cuando ellos hacen referencia a sexo fluido, para aquellos que desconocen el término, quiere decir que en lugar de identificarse estrictamente como hombre o mujer, una persona con una identidad de género fluida puede experimentar una amplia gama de sentimientos y expresiones de género. Puede sentirse más masculina en un momento, más femenina en otro, y en algunos casos puede no identificarse claramente con ninguna de esas, entre comillas, categorías. ¿Se sentirán algún día un hipopótamo macho o hembra? ¿Quién sabe? Hablando otro punto del feminismo actual, este movimiento asegura y perjura ser el defensor absoluto y real de las mujeres, pero eso no aplica a determinados casos. Por ejemplo, algunas mujeres que eligen quedarse en casa como amas de casa, el feminismo progre no respeta estas elecciones, dado que las juzga como antifeministas. Para terminar, en cuanto a lo que Vivek menciona en cuanto a la importancia del debate, algo que los progres quieren prácticamente que no exista, el debate desempeña un papel crucial en la sociedad y en diversos ámbitos, ya que ofrece una serie de beneficios importantes. Entre ellos es que permite que diferentes ideas, perspectivas y argumentos se presenten y se contrasten entre sí. Este contraste facilita la identificación de fortalezas y debilidades en los distintos puntos de vista, contribuyendo así a una evaluación más completa de la verdad. ¿Y tú qué opinas? Déjamelo saber en los comentarios. Y aquí culmina este video. Si te gustó, dale like, comenta el video y compártelo. Gracias, hasta luego.